All right, I'm Devon Douglas, and I'm here with the In the Green podcast. We are here at Star Cinema Grill in Missouri City, Texas, to talk to Isaiah Washington, the director and star of the new movie Corsicana about the life of Bass Reeves. All right, so I'm Devon. This is the In the Green podcast, and of course, we are here with Isaiah. We're here with Isaiah Washington, and we are here at Star Cinema Grill in Missouri City, Texas, and we're here to celebrate and show the premiere here of his movie Corsicana.
Yeah.
Corsicana about Bass Reeves. All right.
It is about two unknown legacies in history. Corsicana, I struck a balance because I was supposed to direct this movie. I only had $48 for it. It's like somebody call you and say, go direct this movie, and you're directing it. You directed it on Monday.
Really?
I went in. Robert Davi, a character actor out of Los Angeles, called me, and we got to know each other. And we were. I remember him in Die Hard. He played an FBI agent, and he's an incredible operatic singer. But anyway, he and I had already met through a social situation, and we were talking about how we wanted to work together on something. And he called me on my birthday, which is basically 2 years and about 23 days ago exactly.
Yeah.
I did not call him back on my 57th birthday because it was my birthday, my 57th birthday. My mama died here in Houston as a 57 years old in 2001.
Oh, wow.
So I wasn't really excited on that birthday. I was kind of sad because now I realize I'm at the age of how I lost my mama, bought a house in the Northwest, and she never lived to stay in it. And so I haven't really been here for about 21 years when she died because it was sad. And she was a huge influence in Studentwood in the community, Jackson Barbershop. She was a star before me. So it was a big deal. Pruitt Mortuary went all out when they buried her in Paradise Cemetery in Acres Home, man. So it was a big deal. So it was tough when I lost her. That's kind of like I lost my roots when she died, right? Because she was one of the last matriarchs of the family. But cut to me taking this call on August 4th, the man talked about 20 minutes. And all he said was, you're Bass Reeves, Bass Reeves. And I couldn't cut him off because I didn't know who Bass Reeves was.
Oh, you didn't know at the time?
Man, I didn't know who Bass Reeves was, man.
Okay.
I thought he was a white man.
And a lot of people, Bass Reeves is
because I heard about him through like law enforcement in my neighborhood, in Ridgegate, all through Fort Bend County. I heard a lot of law enforcement, a lot of people, neighbors always talking about him and talking about whatever, not really the Lone Ranger, but they never told me that he looked like me. So when I Googled him 2 years, 24 days ago, I thought still it was a white man with some of the pictures. Then I started doing more research and reached out on Facebook to R.T. Burton and got this incredible book called Black Guns, Silver Stars, right? By R.T. Burton. Still haven't finished it, man. It's just rife with public domain information that he has researched for over 30 years. Morgan Freeman's been trying to do the Bass Reeves story for over 30 years, right? Sinbad had it. Suzanne DePass had it. Don Johnson had it.
People have tried.
Everybody had it, but nobody was in touch with it because they didn't want this man to be black.
Yes.
In fact, in my research at the timeline, I am suspicious and suspecting that Sherlock Holmes and Watson wouldn't have been created had it not been for the height of the career of Bass Reeves at that time, if you look at the timeline.
Really?
And certainly without, they can say what they want. Bass Reeves is a Lone Ranger and Tonto. He rode a white horse, he rode a pinto, he spoke 5 languages, Choctaw, Chickasaw, Cree, Seminole, and another language, it's escaping me, forgive me, but they're all part of the 5 civilized tribes, right, that were put on the Trail of Tears. So what he was able to do technically was masterful. He was the first person to go undercover, put on a disguise, play a pimp, play a homeless person, play a preacher, play all these different things to get his man. And he was relentless in his pursuit. In fact, the guy in this movie, Jack Donner, is actually based on the only African American criminal that took him 10 years to find.
That he was tracking them down with the.
But they used spiritual warfare against one another.
Yes.
Basically voodoo.
I saw the thing about the tarot
But
cards
I didn't
and
really
stuff
want
like
to
that.
say
But we don't want to spoil. We don't want to spoil it.
Yeah.
We don't want to spoil the film.
But it's all there subtly. I wanted to deprive the audience of gratuitous violence. Everything is implied. Bitch Marshal, like French wave movies. I paint the picture for you like Hitchcock. Your imagination really is probably worse than what I'm actually showing you. Everybody come out last night needed a drink. Oh man, that was the most intense thing. But you didn't see anything.
And that's the other thing too. I think you talk about. I was reading one review where they were saying there are some very violent scenes.
Yeah.
But they're not shown in terms
implied.
of the violence. It's in your mind.
All implied.
What is that like? Stepping up, being a director.
It was God.
Being a director.
I prepared for 22 days after that call. Talked to the original director. He didn't really give me the script, but he was very good at selling me on the bigness of it. He gave me a piece of the script, and I immediately looked at it, how I was reading, and I'm going. Once I had done 22 days of research. And he finally got back to me. He was already in Corsicana. He had already been on this thing for 4 months, right? Supposedly preparing everybody for this incredible story, supposedly doing a Bass Reeves story. He told me it was a Bass Reeves story. It was not. It's a movie about the Corsicana oil boom. And that's all it was about. And they had Bass Reeves kind of like, he went over there kind of character. Like, I'll help you, boss. You know what I mean, kind of thing. They didn't know no better. Even though the writer is a chief of police of Corsicana and he's a fan, he didn't really understand who Bass Reeves really was himself. And I told him, I said, if we do this movie like that, and I had already been on the ground for 5 days. If you tell a story like that, for what I know about Bass Reeves and law enforcement, you're going to get yourself in a lot of trouble with a lot of people, and not just black people.
Yeah.
It's like putting having Floyd Mayweather in a John Wick movie and have him be the sidekick to John Wick, a fictional character. You can't do that. You either tell the movie with Floyd Mayweather his life right, or you don't do it at all. So I came in, man, and made a lot of waves. The director quit. I fell in love with Corsicana. Got used to eating at Chili's. I didn't want to go back to LA, man. Shut down and all the craziness that was going on. And I had a pay-to-play deal. I could have gone home, but I fell in love with people that were running from hurricane in Louisiana. I fell in love with being back in the humidity. I just fell in love with being home.
Yeah.
And next thing I know, I had a person come out. She was crying. And I got to know her. We hung out, and she was crying. And then she told me, like, this movie's not gonna happen. I'm like, what? I'm just smoking cigars, waiting on my script. I never read the script. I did something I'd never done in 30 years. I got on a plane, took 50% of the little money, got on a plane. I was just so happy about, oh man, I'm in Texas. Oh, I'm gonna get on the hood. And then the reality hit. Director either quit or was fired, or creative differences. We had a meeting with him, and he just didn't seem prepared at all. I don't know what the man was doing for 4 months. Nobody had any direction.
And so
Zero.
you just stepped up.
Like somebody called you and told you need to come over here. Someone told you that you need to have a certain package of cameras. Someone told you that you need to be prepared to ask me certain questions, right? I have no idea how 4 months went around.
And he just showed up and just not prepared at all.
I don't know how he got away with it. I mean, literally, I'm Bass Reeves should chase him down. If there's a crime that could have been committed, it was because of that kind of behavior. I don't know how anybody could be that special and that talented for 4 months and nobody knows what's going on, which was interesting for me because I helped save the day, and then I found out that no one had a vision. They were all coming to me and then when I started saying, okay, this is what I have in my head, this is how I would talk to the director about what I wanted to do. I had 48 hours to get everybody, after 4 months of just being in the dark. I didn't have time I got to shoot this movie September 5th.
And so you come down here.
I wasn't even here. Yeah. The actors was getting ready to leave. Lou Tip was like, if you not, everybody was ready to flew the coop. And I'm like, no, these people need these jobs, man.
Yeah.
I took that on. Good deeds don't go unpunished. It's all good. But I took that on, and I don't even know what was in my mind. It was through the spirit, man. And I just knew I was pregnant with the spirit of Bass Reeves. I was pregnant with something. I had no idea. I didn't have a storyboard. It was just in my head. And all the movies I ever loved, Akira Kurosawa, Jules Dassin from Rafifi, all the it's like everything that Warren Beatty and Clint Eastwood and Spike were telling me, you need to direct. You need to direct. I thought they were saying that because I asked them too many questions. So being like just shut up and go through your line.
It could just be you got a great attention to detail.
I didn't know that's what I didn't feel worthy. I thought being a director, that's like Spielberg or Soderbergh or people, you're a director, man. You God, you know. And from my generation, you don't get to be that. That's like asking to be a black quarterback in 1965. That's how I looked at it. That's in my mind, because I worked with so many great directors. I never saw myself in this thing, but God demystified it for me by throwing me in the fire. And out of my passion and my generosity, I'm a Texan to my bone. You know, you got to win. I'm a protector.
Yeah,
so
let's talk about that too, because you are a Texan. This is you coming back home. Yeah. You went to Willow Ridge.
Man, I rodeo, man, it's mule salad. I'm a black redneck that nobody knows about. Man. I'm the biggest undercover operator. I had to pretend I was from Brooklyn, New York for years just to get a job. I remember I would go to Spike and he would have me in the house and the Knicks would be playing the Rockets, and I would be rooting for both of them. And he was like, man, you don't get up out of here. What you doing, man? It's like I was in the closet for a long time about being in Texas, man. What you gonna do, man, in the military? Like everybody, there's a party over here, East Coast in the house, party over here, West Coast in the house, party over here, what? Gulf Coast in the house?
I mean, look,
you're talking in the 80s. I mean, there was no Gulf Coast love.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And look, even
so I had to pick one.
Especially the way, I mean, you know, Texas has a certain air when we talk about, like, especially in politics and things like that. People talk about different stuff.
But I have all that too. Big mouth. Big truth. I ain't scared of nobody.
Okay, not being scared of anybody. Yeah. We usually start off the show, but we started off because we were great. We're talking about some stuff. Mm-hmm. We start off the show with some like real rapid fire questions. I just say a word and you just say what you think about it. Are your thoughts on it? I mean, first off, we've already talked about Houston. Like your thoughts just on Houston in general.
Houston now or Houston that I left?
Whichever one you want to do.
What was the question?
Houston now. Let's talk about
Houston now. Is very incredible. I'm impressed. I fled Houston. In 1981, the recession was horrible in the Reagan administration. Not just on African Americans, on everybody. I mean, you go down our neighborhood, and if you didn't have a Winnebago or a camper, people just leave. I could go to my friends, Philip, I'm not gonna say their names, and Robert and James. I could literally walk through their house. They left their door open. I mean, people were losing everything. And my mom, working at Jackson Barbershop, made too much money at $8,000 a year. You know, that's what she made. But that was too much money for me to qualify for the Pell Grant to get a scholarship. And then at Willow Ridge, I found out that something had happened, my first scandal. The coach had tried to get me to go to Texas Lutheran. And then I found from my black coach when I joined the military out of rage and like, I can't be Deion Sanders, I can't run backwards my whole career. I'm not good enough to go to Eddie Robinson's Grambling. I can't get TSU. I can't even get you. I can't get U of H, but I can't get to the Ocean of Soul. I'm not good enough to play for them. Like, what's going on? Found out after I joined the military, he opened up a drawer, UT, Texas Tech, Texas A&M, Pac-8, Buckeye.
Oh, wow.
He just moved me over there to Texas Lutheran under the table. And I wasn't the first one that did like that. He did some good live guys like LeBlanc like that, and it's just the truth. I'm sorry, Coach Quillen, it's just the truth. You're still alive, man, but you did me dirty, man.
Wow.
And the only person that survived was Thurman Thomas. He got to go to Oklahoma and become a Cowboy. Top draft. Finished his career with the 4 Super Bowls, Hall of Famer, with the Buffalo Bills.
Oh, wow.
But there were other Thurman Thomas. We took Thurman Thomas out of Missouri City High School as an 8th grader. He was a 5-year letterman. I made Texas high school boy in 1980 and got honorable mention as a defensive end. I was the baddest defensive end at 175 pounds. Nobody could stop me. It was always trying to double team me.
And all that got just one coach.
I got a year-to-year thing. I don't even have a full ride. I get hurt. I get red-shirted.
Wow.
I'm coming back to Houston, man. I'm nothing. It ain't gonna work. So out of rage, I joined the military. Didn't even tell my mama. I talk about it on my podcast.
Yeah.
Isaiah Washington, speaks again.
The other thing is when we're sitting there talking about, you mentioned Pell Grants. I mean, Biden.
I don't know if they have that.
No, Biden just they do the Pell Grants. I think Biden is giving away for giving like $20,000.
Oh, they still have
out of your Pell Grants
qualified that need to go to school?
Yes, so they're doing that. So talking about just politics in general, I mean, we have.
Oh, I don't talk about politics no more, man.
You don't talk about politics no more.
That's off the table.
Completely out. Okay, so politics is out.
Man. Let's see here. I ain't got nothing more to say on that, man.
Let's talk about something positive because you were talking about Spike and things like that.
Politics ain't positive at all.
No, it's not. It's not.
But I will stand by this. I support the $20,000 people that got on the First Step Act.
Absolutely.
On a trumped up charge, because I got men all over the place, and you still keeping brothers and sisters, poor Latinos and white people on federal prison.
Yes.
For a first time offense.
Yes.
And you mad because I like that policy.
But this podcast does talk about, this is the In the Green podcast, talk about the legalization.
I want to see those 20,000 people, and 91% of them are black, see if they mad for getting out of prison for a dime bag of weed, been sitting in prison for 30 years. I want to interview them and see how they feel about being free.
You see situations,
what white man you know in America free and black people?
I saw someone in Mississippi that was just on this third offense that got like almost like life in prison.
For nothing.
Now. You get life in
prison. Dude, they still getting this.
Yeah.
If I go up here and trip up on something, man, somebody back gonna put me in prison. If I fall around, but that ain't gonna happen. I got the sheriff on my side, so they ain't gonna happen.
We'll end on something positive though. Tell us about Howard University and your time you spent there.
I found how black I was and how black I wasn't. I became an actor because I was too dark skinned.
How black you were and how black you wasn't.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I became an actor with this full lips and brown nose and chocolate skin at the time, and I started chasing Denzel because everybody was telling me I was too dark. All the Kappas needed me to put an S curl in my head to be a Kappa, go to lead smoker. I went to the Alphas. They wanted to know if I had a American Express card, which I did. I was 23, and I'm like, well, F your smoker. Yeah, I got money. I'm traveling around the world, been married, divorced. I'm going to get ready to do all that. I'm not playing these games at 23. Yeah. I had already been shot. I left the $750,000 in a duffel bag in a hologram for selling drugs in the military. So I don't even know what y'all talking about. I'm trying to prove a point. I want to make people that look like me be loved in the world. And what does our skin color have to do with our heart, our spirit, and our intellect? By the time I got to the third season of Grey's Anatomy, I had already fulfilled that goal because I made that pledge to myself in 1986. And I told myself on a 10-year plan, by 1996, I fell in love with Spike Lee movie, She's Gotta Have It. Yeah. I was depressed, clinically depressed, and didn't know it. Was working in the dishes with PCP and crackheads, former doctors and lawyers, and they told me how to get off of drugs. And that's with Kelly Temps. And God moved me, and I said, God, I don't know what I want to do. I'm lost. And I met a director in a church, and I played the gay characters infected with HIV. Met her, Kelly Temps, said, I want to date her. She said, when you date her, I got to go to church and get saved. Went to her church to date her just to get in, to fit in, became saved, loved Jesus more than I loved her. Went to play the play, played Cutie Pie. Played the character so well, she thought I was gay. She thought I was gay. So she had nothing to do with me. So my first experience with homophobia in the black community.
Oh, wow.
And this was a professional woman that worked for IBM. She know who she is.
Okay.
All right,
okay.
So that helped me. I'm like, well, what's going on? So I must be a pretty good actor, huh?
It works.
Go to Howard. He gave me a book called Stage Lighting by Oscar Brockett. I saw Ossie Davis and the Howard Players. So I was still living in my car, right? Because I quit that job. And I went looking for the Howard Players, Ossie Davis. But they said, oh, you need to go to the music department. The Howard Players now in 1986 is a world-renowned marching band like the Ocean of Soul at TSU for Howard. There is no more theater. So Vera Katz, to this day, Chadwick Boseman gave me a big shout out for one of his commencements at Howard, said I was one of the greats. But I was only there for like a semester. I was on fire because I said God put me on this path and I have to be somewhere by 1996 with Spike. I'll have my master's from Howard and I'll be having my first movie with Spike. By 1996, I was playing a gay character and get on the bus. 10 years later, everything I do is in 10 years.
Wow.
And by 2000, I said, God, by 1996, I said, I got to be on my own, stand on my own leading man. From 1996, after that, I would shave my hair and my locks and stop fighting people, buck of the system. I'll get rid of my locks after Love Jones. I'll tell them stop F you, leave my hair alone. I'm not gonna fight that fight because I thought the nappy hair thing was gonna be an issue because I showed it in a beautiful way. I'm saddened now that people still have colorism and hair issues to this day.
Yes.
That saddens me. I'm gonna pray on it. But by 2006, I said 10 years I'm gonna be a leading man. From 1996 to 2006, I was already on the #1 medical show in the history of television, making all kinds of noise playing the surgeon. Exactly 10 years later, and then I was gone. Then I said after that, by 2016, I want to focus on certain things in Africa. 2010, I became the first African American, the first human being based on African ancestry DNA to get my dual citizenship in Sierra Leone. Wrote a book about a man from another land because I'm really a Garveyite in my spirit.
Okay.
So we're the only people that don't have a mainland to go to. You can't get a ticket to black. If 100 years from now they tell all the black people to get out of this country, you really gonna fight for it? Look how they treat us now. You really ready to go to war for it? Yeah. We had an opportunity to get in the streets to go to war, but it wasn't operated by us. It was a lot of immigrants out there working for Black Lives Matter. It wasn't really us because we ain't stupid. We don't have a war yet. So I said, okay, that ain't working. I need to play something at the federal level. Years ago, I didn't know what it was. I did play an FBI agent. So boom, here comes 2020. I get this man called Bass Reeves. What is he? A deputy U.S. Marshal at the what? Federal level. Which now just one black man who was in that theater in Richmond. That young, beautiful brother looked at me all day, and I'm like, what is he doing? He was there from 3 o'clock. You're not gonna make me cry up in here. And he came up to me, he says, oh my God. I didn't know what to say, I couldn't speak. And I just saw this movie, and I want to be like Bass Reeves. I want to become a deputy U.S. Marshal so I could go back to my community and police my own people and protect my people in my neighborhood.
It makes sense. It makes sense. How important was it for you to show? I mean, like you said, when you first
you heard what I just said?
Reeves, absolutely.
Can you imagine? He didn't say basketball, rapper.
Bass Reeves.
I want to become a deputy, a federal agent to go back to my community and police my community and take care and educate my people.
And we're talking about federal agents very early on. A lot of people, like you said yourself, didn't even realize Bass Reeves was black. This is what a lot of our system is built upon here. This is the guy they tried to hide all this.
There'll be no John Wayne.
Yes.
There'll be no Sam Elliott with the thick mustache on 1883. And I love Sam Elliott, I'm sorry. Any man that can shoot well with a big hat, that's based on Bass Reeves. So when you see this movie, you tell me what you think. Because this came straight in my mind, and I don't want to be awkward. This came from heaven. I had I knew what I wanted to look like based on the directors I respected. But we had only 19 days to shoot. When I saw the original script, I said, I'm tearing this out. This is an $8 million budget for 32 days. Whoever told you that, Miss Amber McNutt, they just straight lied to you. There's no way you can finish this movie. With this COVID stuff going on, slowing us down, and I said, you're gonna have to trust me. You say you're a Christian, then you're gonna have to let go and let God. And she did, so here we are.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Are we planning on, now that you got hit by, you said every 10 years, 10 years now, you just directed. What are your thoughts now? We planning on doing more direction?
2020. That's 2026.
Okay.
By 2026, I want to be back here with probably the most influential leadership of studios, where we're hiring cameramen and educating people in the industry.
And particularly here in Houston.
I'm already talking to the Al Kashanis of the world, the same people.
Excellent.
50 Cent is talking to.
Excellent, yeah.
Same people. They got land all over the place. There's no reason we can't build sound stages here. Tyler Perry did a good job with the former military. Have you been on Tyler Perry's studio?
I haven't been, but I've just seen.
I'm sorry, I should be tripping down, but there's a person, a very powerful developer right here that's working to turn the Astrodome into a stage.
That's fantastic.
There's some incredible things. 50 Cent ain't stupid.
Oh yeah.
50 Cent just killed the last night I heard.
Yeah.
And he's been here for a long time. I didn't really know. I thought he was just
quietly. He
talking
was here for a while.
He said, I'm moving to Texas because there's no taxes, here. I thought he was just tweeting some BS. I ain't know, man, until last night. I'm like, oh, he been here. Super smart move. A lot of good things are gonna happen, and I want to be a part of that leadership with the city to get our creativity. If I can make it out of Studewood and sit here and talk about a 30-year career, then that next Isaiah Washington can do it.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to spend the rest of my life on. So by 2026, hopefully I am talking about the next Isaiah Washington Chapman boats that come out of, Sugarland, Acadia, Humboldt, Missouri City,
right here.
Independence Heights now, or Sunnyside, I hear Third Ward is different now, or wherever
it's a little different. It's still
McGregor
Third
Park,
Ward.
or wherever we are, wherever they got us now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where are we moved to survive? But I want more of Debbie Allens and me. And Scarfaces and what is it? Zero, the rap, what's his name? More Travis Scott. Most City
absolutely.
where the girls are pretty, man. Let's get out of here, man. Keep getting on. All right.
We start off a little different, but it is. We do focus on cannabis, and we kind of hint a little bit when we were talking about your feelings.
This movie makes $56 million or more. I'm going straight to Sierra Leone and grow the baddest cannabis in the world because I have an ECOWAS citizenship. I can do business in 12 African nations. The land, all they're growing right now is elephant grass. If I change the rules, get my citizenship, just like Idris Elba and I, if I get him to come on board and we get them to change the law and legalize marijuana in Sierra Leone, you talk about $1 trillion industry overnight. And either that, I'm going to either be dead or I'm going to have to flee.
When you talk about changing the law, though, it's like not just in Sierra Leone,
cannabis
but here. If you could write a law,
here?
If you could write a law here, right now, what law would you make?
Well, the laws are on the books, but it's obvious that our survival crimes in our community, it's clear they need a permanent underclass. Mm-hmm. There are laws against, the federal laws can release these things. You're going to see this. The reason Oklahoma became a state, because after the work that Bass Reeves did, you see in the beginning of this movie, bootlegging was like crack cocaine.
Yes.
That was the money. You had to spend $200 to get some whiskey in 1893. Mm-hmm. $200 in 1893? That's more than Louis 3,000 bottle. That's like insane. It was high end, like cocaine level. Only the rich. So everybody was scrambling to be in that. That's why they call it, put the whiskey in the boot, go across the line to Indian territory. That's called it bootlegging. That was huge. J.F. Kennedy's family made millions of dollars. Every time you twist the cap off of a bottle of liquor, that goes to the Kennedy estate.
I didn't know that.
Because he was the biggest prohibition bootlegger out there.
People don't understand
how
hard
lifted prohibition.
He
said, I'll stop selling the liquor, but you got to expunge me. You got to raise my record, but I got to have a piece of that money indefinitely for my legacy. Ain't nobody talking about it. Same thing with cannabis. How can it so hard for brothers, sisters to go and get licensed to sell legal marijuana when we've been using this as a means of survival for decades?
Yes.
So it's not about the law. It's about getting the proper conversation going to get these real representatives at the councilman level, politics at the local level. The president ain't hurting you. The president don't care about the community. They do the federal dollars that trickle down to the governor. You want to get something done, you need to go holler at your governor, then you got to holler at your mayor. So it's the mayor's office. Talk to the Janice Weaver and the mayors in Hiawatha and Henry's. It's about policy because you can't change the law unless you have a good policy, right? And then you got to go, because at the federal level, you got the judiciary, the legislative, and the executive. That has nothing to do with Missouri City.
Yeah.
The people that voted for Sheriff Fagan, those are the people that you need to get in front of. Because the laws can't be changed until you show that it's a bad law. Slavery was a law.
Yeah, it was legal.
But it doesn't make
but it
it
was immoral.
A bad law.
Yes.
So once you get, there you go. Once you win the moral argument, see what the trick they done on this is try to say that everybody that smoke weed are dangerous. That's not true.
Yeah.
Everybody that smoke weed is unhealthy. Well, that's not true. This is narrative. They say about me, I'm something that I'm not. It's not true.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But the other part about the change of the law, you have to be able to control the narrative in the media. If you don't control the narrative, you're wasting your time. You're not changing anything. And that's why I'm here. Without distribution, without the press, without this, without that, taking the movie, have 40% ownership in this movie, indefinitely. So every penny that's made, 40% comes to me. I get a certain percentage at the door. I don't touch his concessions. So that's why I need everybody to buy hamburgers and popcorn and drink till 2 in the morning. Because it shows in his books that because this movie was here, he made all the money to take care of his employees for the next 3 months, then that determines how long this movie stays in this theater. And I remember as a kid off of South Post Oak, I was babysat for 3 months during the summer watching Star Wars. For 3 months. I want this movie to be here for 3 months until Christmas. There's no reason you say you didn't see it.
Yeah.
At Star City, Star City. Oh man, when it comes to streaming, no, we're not doing that game.
Yeah.
We're not gonna let you sit home. Come out here, get that $13, not because I'm asking you to, or telling you to, or begging you to, because if you want to see the narrative change and see more people like me that ain't scared of nobody, like 50 Cent, and really start telling our stories, I've been saying for decades, if Hollywood just told our American story, they can amass over $3 trillion within 5 years. If they just told our contribution, and have an African American player and not a British person. But anyway,